But to start, we're going to talk about what cybersecurity is. We'll be recognizing or how to recognize a secure website, how to make your passwords strong and memorable, and learning how to recognize and avoid online scams. We'll have different tips and tricks for you, and then we'll also do some practice. So why do we need to be concerned about safety when we're online? So when we're online, we're sharing personal information, stuff that you're wanting to keep private, like credit cards or addresses, phone numbers, stuff that we don't want random people to have. And then fraudsters might try to gain that access. Might want to hack your sites, learn to buy stuff, or steal your social security number. So you want to always keep that stuff safe. So cybersecurity, it's personal data that is not accessible to others. So you want to make sure any websites you go to, any passwords you save, any of that information is not accessible to other people. Devices work properly and are free from malware. So usually when you get like a new computer, it'll have you put software on it to keep it safe. You don't want viruses to get on there because those viruses do steal your information.
And updating those is always very important. So like if it shows that there's an update for your virus software, always get that new update as soon as you can. The sooner you install it, the less likely you are to have issues with viruses and things like that. Because basically updates come out all the time once they realize there's a vulnerability, and they put out an update to fix that vulnerability so that your device is safe.
And they're always good about sending those alerts to you to make sure you know that that stuff needs to be updated. So why does a website need to be secure? Again, if you're entering any kind of personal information, that's something you want to keep safe. You don't want to enter that information into a website that might want to either steal that information or sell that information. So how to see if a website is secure. So when there is a website, you'll see this lock button in the front. That means it is secure. Also, that HTTPS : if that is in front of your website, that also means it's secure. So you want to make sure that either one of those or both of those are showing up, because that does mean that that website is secure.
Yeah. Is it true that if the S isn't there?
If the S isn't there, it's not a secure one. Yeah, it has to have the S in there. That S means secure.
Okay.
Because otherwise, they're trying to make it look the same. And
sure.
But yeah.
Would you see them without the lock and the S? Is that still a secure?
Yeah. If you see one or the other, like depending on different browsers, some will hide that HTTPS and just show the lock, or like some won't show the lock and just show that. It depends on the browser. Yeah. Some will show one or the other. Some will show both. But so long as one of those is there, that website is secure.
I know when I'm browsing, I don't see the first part of that address, but I do see the lock there when I'm on like Google Chrome.
Yeah. Okay. So then if you see that exclamation point at the beginning of the lock, or again, like you said, no S there, that means the website is not secure, and so that's not a website you'd want to use.
And a lot of times too, when you go to that website, depending on the security settings on your device, you might get a pop-up that says like, this website is not secure. Are you sure you want to proceed? So sometimes that happens as well, different things to clue you in that you're not necessarily on a trustworthy website. And sometimes you know that that is a safe website or whatever, and it might be that their security certificate lapsed or something like that. But that's sometimes why that pops up, to let you make the decision whether or not you want to go there.
Okay. I don't think I've ever seen either of those, so I guess that's a good thing.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, most websites you would go on, you wouldn't see that. And so I feel like a lot of it, when you would see that, is maybe if you get a strange link in your email or something, or like those random ads sometimes that'll pop up if you click on them. Usually the general websites you use are safe, but just always wanting to kind of be aware of those. So what kind of online accounts have you created? You know, we have Facebook accounts, we have online banking accounts, we have like work accounts. There's so many different things that you are using that you're putting your information out there. And why would you want to create an account on a website? Well, you want to be able to save some of that information. Like, say you're ordering online, you want to create an account so you can save your history, stuff like that. So it's like, you want to make these accounts. That isn't something to be scared of. These accounts aren't going to hurt you, but you want to make sure when you're creating those passwords that those passwords are going to be strong and keep that information safe from you. And so you want those personal accounts to have information that's accessible only to you. You don't want this information going out to other people. So again, a secure website, always wanting to make sure you check for that lock, and always wanting to make sure you check for that HTTPS. Again, these are secure websites. When you're doing this, you can put in that personal information and not be worried about it getting out. Let's see, so we'll do an activity here. So how do you determine that a website is secure? The padlock icon, www.https, or .com? Which ones?
1 and 3.
Yes. So all websites are going to have the www and the .com. That's just a part of a website. That's not going to keep it safe, but that padlock and that HTTPS, those are what shows that a website is secure. So passwords. A strong password is one that's hard to guess. If it's something easy like your last name or your phone number or something that someone can easily have access to, then people will have easy access to your information. So you want to make sure those are strong. So how do you come up with a strong password? Longer is always better. And, long passwords can be hard to remember. They usually say if you do a phrase, that's something that can help make it easier. One, I think that
Easier to remember.
Yeah. So like, I know one that they talk about a lot is cows help make cheese. It's a weird phrase, but it's something that you'll remember. It's something longer, and it's usually something that someone won't guess. And so you want to make sure you have those strong passwords. Also, there's usually requirements. You'll see when you usually are creating a password, it'll tell you need a capital letter, you need numbers, you need symbols. So each website is going to have its own requirements. So that's always something to look for. You can see this one says you have to have at least 8 characters, 1 uppercase, 1 lowercase, and 1 numeric character. That's to make those passwords more secure. So making sure to see the requirements that they have before creating your password is always smart. So don't use common words. Password, I know we've seen that a lot where, especially when passwords were first becoming a thing, a lot of people used password or 1, 2, 3, 4, those things are very easy to guess. They'll probably be the first thing someone would use.
There are even people that just use like a certain row of keys, like, ooh, this is gonna be super secure because it's long and there's lots of letters, but it's actually really common for people to do that. So it's something that hackers can easily figure out. So even if you think you're being smart about something, they're gonna get that figured out. So like, one of the things you can do too is like, if you have a phrase, but you want to make it more secure because you have to have like a symbol in there and you have to have a number or something like that, you can always like trade out a letter for a number that looks similar. Like you can trade out an I for a 1 to get a number in there. And then you can always like trade out that @ symbol for an A, so that you get a symbol and you get a number, but you've still got your basic phrase. You just have to remember those letters that you switched out. But simple things like that can make it even more secure.
Yes. Also, don't include personal information. Like I said before, don't use your last name, don't use your phone number, don't do your street address. That's stuff that if anyone knows you or knows any of that kind of information, that's something that they're easily going to be able to guess. Also, don't use the same password on multiple sites. I myself struggle with that. It's hard trying to remember tons of different passwords, but if they learn one, then they have access to every single one of your accounts. And so you want to try to keep those as separate as possible so that way they don't have access to everything.
And something you can do there too is like, if you have like a base password, that's probably the easiest thing to call it, but like a base password that you have used before, but you want to use it on another site, you can add on to it to make it different so that your base password is the same and you can maybe give yourself hints about like what you added onto it or something like that to make it more secure, but also different from other websites. Because like if you use the same password on Facebook, which is something that like commonly gets hacked, versus your banking site, and you have the same password on both, and your login is the same on both because it's your email or something like that, you're just making it easier for somebody to steal your information.
And a lot of sites nowadays, like if you have a Google account, or I know like on my phone with Samsung, they'll have like password savers for you where they will automatically generate a password for you and save it. So like I've been doing that a lot now where you have to memorize that one password, like maybe for your email, but then your email will save all those other passwords for you and automatically put those in. So you're not having to try to create those strong passwords. And so
How do those not get hacked then?
Well, like, for example, like on my phone, I log into it with biometrics, so I log in with my thumbprint. And then once I put my thumbprint down, then it automatically puts in my password for that site for me. But I have to have my thumbprint. If I don't have my thumbprint, it's not going to put it in there. So a lot of biometrics like face recognition or like thumb or fingerprints, those things are usually in place so that somebody can't just like, oh, well, I have that information.
Gotcha.
So, yeah.
And also a lot of sites nowadays have that double step where you'll put in that password, but then it's going to send you a text with a code. And so like kind of making sure there's multiple avenues you'll have to go through before you can actually get in. So even if they do have your password.
Yeah,
Yeah.
like even Gmail, even if it doesn't send you a text, it'll say like, hey, a new login was detected for your account on this device at this time. Was this you? If it wasn't, change your password. So there's a lot of ways that they're trying to build that security in to help you out.
Super nice. And then also, don't share your passwords with others. We see this all the time where people love to try to give us their passwords. You don't want people to know your passwords. You give us your password, we have all of your information there.
Yeah.
You want to keep that private. Also, if you're writing it down, make sure that's something that you're keeping with you. Do not let other people see that. Also, if you're writing it down, don't also put your username there, because then if somebody finds that, they have both that username and that password. So kind of trying to be safe about that.
Yeah, and like what I said, if you have like a base password for something and that you know that you have memorized and you're writing your passwords down for other websites, you can write base password plus whatever, and then somebody still wouldn't have your password if you lost your notebook or something like that, because they don't know what your base password is.
Right.
So as long as you don't have that written down in the same place, because I know I do that sometimes with websites I don't go to very often. I'll put like regular password, super password, plus whatever that I have on there. And then I automatically know when I look at that again, oh yeah, the password is this.
Right.
So again, making the password longer, something like this ZBE6K28A, like this stuff, that's hard to remember. It's safe, but that's not something that's going to be easily remembered. So like a short phrase, like cows help make cheese. That is something that you're going to remember easily, but it's long and not going to be easily guessed.
And like I said, like you could use this one. It only has one A in it. So if you made that the @ symbol, and if you made that L a number 1, then you've got an even more secure password by just changing those two things out in that phrase.
Or I suppose a capital L too.
Well, yeah, if you need a capital letter, you could capitalize the first word or first letter or the last letter or something like that.
Can you have them where the capital is in between?
Yeah,
Oh, okay.
yep.
Yeah,
any
like
of
you
those.
could do,
Yep.
you could do CHMC if you wanted to all capitalize. And all of those things, having that variety helps make it more secure.
Sure.
So how do you remember your password? So again, talked about writing it down. If you're going to write it down, make sure that somewhere you're going to keep it safe. You don't want that to go anywhere. Let's see, notebook. So, and also instead of writing the actual password, write something that helps you remember that password. So like she had said, if you have like just that extra part, but not that base password, stuff that if people see it, they're not going to have immediate access to that account.
My husband's done that for me. To like he'll right, like the first letter or like a clue, and then dot, 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 like
Yeah.
I know you'll know what I mean.
Yes.
This is how it starts, and then you should know the rest of it.
Yes.
Yeah, especially like if you keep that notebook in your purse, like that's probably a good place to keep it because you usually have your purse with you. But if your purse gets stolen or something like that, like then it's not so secure. And so not having that actual password written down is helpful.
And also not listing what it's for. Like
Yeah.
I've seen some people will have like Facebook and then the password and like banking the password. Then you're giving them exactly which places to go instead of them having to try 15 websites before they get in.
Well, and after a while, is it true that things get locked out if you try too many times?
Yeah,
Some
depending
websites,
on,
yeah.
depending on the website. Some of them, it might tell you like you have 3 tries remaining or something like that. And then other websites, it might, after you've entered it wrong a couple of times, say, hey, would you like us to send you a one-time code to log in? And things like that. So, but even then, like if it's sending you a one-time code, you have to have your phone on you or you have to be able to access your email. So,
Having those extra steps. And again, password software, we talked a little bit about this where like with a Google account or some phones where they will automatically generate a password for you and they'll save that. That's a way, so it's memorizing that for you, so it's making less steps for you to have to memorize. There's a bunch of these. They are very secure, so those are always a good option.
yeah, my husband is an IT guy and we have a password safe that we have like a base password to log into it and then the rest of our information is there. But then we have so many different accounts between the two of us that if something happened to one of us and the other one needed to access the account, then we've got that information there that we can get to with a special password that's just for that password software.
And again, that makes it really easy to have different passwords for every account then. So even if they guess that one password, they can't get access to any of the other accounts since they all do have those different passwords. Also, phrases. Again, that's the best way to make it something that's memorable, something, especially with like cows help make cheese. Sometimes on those websites, they'll have like where you can put that hint in, or again, in your notebook, writing that hint. It'll make it easier for you to remember what the phrase is that you used without it being something easily guessed by others.
Favorite food phrase.
All right, so activity number 2. So here are some different passwords. They're obviously not very secure ones, but what are some ways we could make it more secure? So like with happy birthday up there, what is something we could do to make that more
Capital
secure?
H, capital B, maybe 1 for the I.
Mm-hmm. Yep, so like with this one, we've got different capital letters in there. We're switching out some of those letters for symbols, adding some symbols at the end. Something where it's still that same phrase, but it's not something that someone would be easy to guess.
Mm-hmm.
Same with Joseph Smith. Well, one, we don't want to be using our name.
Right.
That's easily guessed.
Right.
Well, what's something else that we'd maybe want to do?
Numbers and.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Numbers and
Symbols
letters.
again.
Yeah. So let's see. So like this one, added some numbers to the front, added an exclamation point there in the middle, did some capitalizing. So that makes that more secure. So even if they know your name, they're not gonna figure out all the other stuff that you added. So that makes that definitely more secure. And also here it's saying password should be at least 12 characters or longer. The longer it is, again, the harder it's gonna be. Having those uppercase and lowercase letters, numbers, special characters, those are all gonna make it harder to guess. So with this 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Obviously a very easy to guess.
Right.
So in this example, it's gonna have you do 1, 2, buckle my shoe. There you're having a phrase,
Yeah.
it's something different. It's still got that number variety in there, but something that's easier than 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10.
Right.
Password 1. Again, we said password is not a good one, and especially adding number 1. That's something that's super easy to guess. Here, like this phrase, keep my password safe. You're still using password, but it's something, one, very long, and it's also something easy to remember. That's not going to be easy to guess. Let's see. So online fraud and scams. So let's see. So we talked about how when you're online, you're putting all that personal information out there. And again, we want to keep that stuff secure, wanting to make sure you always have that, that your devices are free from malware, but having those different, what's the word for it? Software that will keep those things safe. So again, just always remember that. So phishing, have you ever heard of phishing? Yeah. So this is when people are trying to pretend to be someone else or trying to pretend to be another business, something where they're going to be pretending to be someone else to fish that information from you. So it might be an email from your bank saying, oh my gosh, someone stole your password. Come put your password into our website or put all this personal information in here. So that way we know now can use it. Or maybe someone's going to text you saying, I am your mom. I am in help. Send me $6,000. You know, they're going to try to get information or money from you by pretending to be someone else.
It's a shame that people fall for that.
It is.
It's sad every time I hear those stories. It's like, how does it get from this to thousands of dollars?
Well, and nowadays, especially, I've seen like people's Facebooks will get hacked where it'll post like it'll have it post on their account like click on this link or stuff like that, and you'll think, oh, like this is so and so's Facebook account, it must be real. And so it's like they found those ways to make it very alluring that it must be safe. And so it's like you really have to be cautious about that and make sure that there is not information getting out there. Social engineering, again, trying to convince you to be someone you're not. Trying to be a family member, pretending to be a company with a great discount, pretending to be working on behalf of the government. That's another one. You usually think government websites, those are something that's going to be safe. Usually with those government websites, there's going to be that .gov at the end. That's a way to know that that's a real government address, not something that's going to be taking advantage of you there. So, online frauds and scams. What are some examples that you have experienced? Have you gotten any of those emails that telling you won big prizes or that try to get money from you?
No, I haven't gotten that, but I have gotten phone calls that say I'm from the local police department or whatever, and I just return back saying, oh, are you on blah blah street? Yeah. Click. Because I know, well, one, I know that they're not going to call me. And if I'm going to give any money, it's what I want to do, not what you need to ask me to do.
Yeah.
I get a lot of those phone calls where it's like, we've been trying to get a hold of you and we're good. Like, you have this stuff you need to pay, and if you don't, we're going to come to your work. And I'm like, I don't know.
I think I may have gotten one like that. Yeah. I just laughed when
Yeah, sometimes there are emails like that too that are pretending to be somebody else, and sometimes it even shows like the name that shows there is somebody that you know, but then if you go up and actually click to see the email, it's some wonky thing that you don't even recognize, that you know it's not that person's email. And so that happens sometimes.
My husband actually got one of those saying that a good close coworker was like in Nigeria, or he's like, he doesn't ever travel.
It's like, skeptical is always the way to be.
So tips on recognizing a scam. So like with this website, so AT&T. Have you heard of AT&T? Yes. So, I mean, that's something we have heard of. It's not a website for some place that we haven't heard of. We also can see that HTTPS up there, so we know it's secure. I mean, it has their logo, it has their brand information. This is a safe website. What about this email? Can we tell who this is from? I mean, it says PayPal, but I mean, when you look at that email address up there, it's just a bunch of random numbers. Right. We have like typos within here. Right. It's asking for your personal information. This is clearly not a safe email.
Yeah, and also like if you see something like that, like your PayPal account has been restricted or something like that, don't click on the links in there. First of all, they're never going to send you an email like that. But second of all, if you think, wait, is there something wrong with my PayPal account? Go to the website directly. Don't click on the link from the email. Just go there and log in. And if there's no message or anything at the top, you know that wasn't true. But a lot of times you won't see that email address. You'll just see accounts. Who is it from? Accounts. And then you think, oh, what account? And so it gets you curious,
Right.
and they want you to open it so that you'll click on things, so.
And again, are they asking you for information? Yes, here they'd be trying to get your username and password there, which can then get them access to that account. And again, are there mistakes? Like I said, you can see account there is very blatantly spelled wrong. There's probably other
Do they do that on purpose, or is it that they don't know how to spell it correctly?
A lot of times it's because the scams come from foreign countries, so English isn't their first language.
Okay.
And not to say that that's always the case, but a lot of times hackers are from somewhere overseas.
Right.
And so there's spelling errors and things like that because English isn't their first language. Also, when you think about how big PayPal actually is, they have somebody whose job it is to proofread any message that they would send or anything that they would put out there, whereas some hacker doesn't have somebody to proofread for
They're
them.
just typing it up
Yeah.
and then sending it out to hundreds of
Right.
people and hoping someone will click.
I would think too, like sentence structure.
Oh, yeah.
Would come up as going, this doesn't even make sense.
Like subject verb agreement, that comes up a lot too in like spoofing or scamming
Sure.
emails.
Yeah, like, please confirm and provide the documents for your
Yeah.
identity. Like, very clearly not
Right.
a good sentence there. And then also, are they trying to rush you into quick action? Like, here, confirm ASAP, expiring soon. They're trying to get you to do it really fast, make you not think about it very long and think, oh, I have to do this or I'm going to miss out. Most websites aren't going to do that. I mean, I know sometimes they'll be like, oh, there's a sale for 24 hours, but it's not something where if you don't do it, you're missing out on everything. Like,
And that one, the email address for that one seems a lot more legitimate. Like it says Cash App at PQG at, promotion all day or whatever. So that it seems like a more legitimate email address. And so you'll see that too, where they come up with something that sounds very similar to the website that they're trying to pretend that they are.
I've seen it too where like it'll be like the exact same, but they'll switch an I or like an L out for an I or something like that. So when you first glance at it, it'll be like, oh, this looks the exact same, but
Yeah.
it's not. So you have to be really careful about
Yeah,
that.
instead of ALL, it's AIL, but it's a capital I, so you can't really tell the difference.
right.
So tricky things
Mhm.
like that. It's just best to go, oh, well, let me look at my Cash App account, but don't click on anything in the email.
Right.
And
I've noticed too, like when I get a message saying, oh, you've got this, X% off. I'll wait a day or two and they'll just keep bombarding you with it. Like, no, look, really, this is our company, and
Yeah.
I just laugh. Like, again, if I really want it, I'm gonna go and get to the site.
Yes,
Well,
you're gonna go to the
and I feel
site
like
on your own.
usually websites will be like, here is this code that you can use on our website to
Right.
get that discount. Like they're usually not giving you all these links or anything.
Right.
And so you can still go to their website and use that. So it's, that's more legit.
Yeah.
Also, is it too good to be true? If it is, it's probably not true. I would love someone to give me $750, but in this day and age, it's just too good to be true. So activity number 3. So what in this email indicates a scam?
Well, the email itself, the address is
Yep.
just so long and
The address is weird.
looks bogus.
Yeah. And also there's like random extra spaces in there,
Right.
misspellings.
Right.
There's also this PDF. Sometimes if people are sending you stuff where there is things you want to open, like it's from your friend and they want to send you a picture or something, of course you want to click on that. But with random attachments, those can also be bad. You click on that, that might download something to your device that can then hack into your different stuff. So you never want to click on any of those attachments if you don't know where it's from.
And if you do click on an attachment and then all of a sudden it seems like your computer is working wonky or something like that, you probably want to get it checked out. Like if things are popping up where it's running really slow all of a sudden and you think, oh, I opened that attachment that wasn't what I thought it was. Like it's always better to be proactive and like get it checked out right away than to be like, I'm sure it wasn't that or whatever, especially like if you're using like a work computer or something like that and you messed up, it's really easy to think, oh, I don't want anybody to know I messed up.
Right.
But at the same time, if you let somebody know ahead of time, then like data loss or, that breach in security is probably going to be less the quicker that somebody can take care of it. So,
Also,
even like up there where it says action required, unusual, suspicious activity, things to grab your attention right away.
Also, we will be giving a flash drive today. Ours is safe, but that's another scam that people have done where they'll download that information onto flash drives, hoping you'll put it in your computer and then they can have all that access. And so you never want to be putting things in your computer that you don't know where they came from, whether or not they're safe. There's
Even
always.
when I know where they come from, I'm nervous.
Yeah.
I always tell my husband, he's more IT than I am. No, you do it because then it's your problem if there's a problem.
Yeah, because you never know what they're gonna do. So do's and don'ts. Never give any personal information. It's asking for your names or passwords or especially card details. Once you give that to them, then they have all that information that they can use to spend all your money or log into your other accounts. So you never want to give out that personal information. Also, don't reply or engage with them. If you see it's a scam, just don't answer. Put it in your spam email. They want to engage with you. And also once they know you're going to respond, they might do other ways because they know that you're someone that might talk back. So that they might all of a sudden start emailing you or texting you or different things with different accounts because they know there's that chance that you're actually going to be there and click on it.
Because sometimes they're just there are all kinds of email accounts that are inactive. The people haven't used them for years, but they're still technically out there. And so they'll just send out these mass emails from these lists that they have gotten from wherever, and send out emails and see if they get a response back. And if they do, then they're going to put more energy in that direction. So a lot of emails allow you to report it as spam, or report it as like spoofing, or this isn't who I think it is, or something like that. So a lot of emails you can say that, and that actually helps make the email better because it's better at recognizing spam and junk mail like that too. So sometimes that's helpful. It'll keep, if you keep getting emails from that hacker or whatever, then they're going to just keep going automatically into your spam instead of showing up in your inbox.
And that also helps other people too, because the more people that report a specific email as spam, the email will learn to just automatically put that in people's spam. So it will stop showing up in people's inboxes. Because I've always heard, don't delete it, put it into spam. So that way they know and they can learn from that. So less people will.
Is that the same then? Do you have to manually put it in spam or
I think you can mark it as spam.
Because usually there's that exclamation point at the top. That usually is how I think you'll mark it as spam. And so then it'll send it to your spam email thing.
Because there have been a few, like I'll get texts occasionally.
Oh yeah, and text you can't. Yeah, text those you can't mark as spam, but yeah, blocking those.
It does come up saying on mine, there have been a few times block and send message to, whomever to.
Yeah, like report it.
Yeah, report it, yeah.
Yeah, I've got those too where it's like report it as phishing. Do you want to block it? And it's like, yes, I do. I don't want to hear from them again.
Well, and generally speaking too, like if it's an email or a text or anything, if I don't know the person, if it's that important, by God, you better call me.
Yeah.
And leave a voicemail.
Yep.
And, it better be a voice I recognize. Because hopefully someone isn't truly stranded somewhere and really needing help, but.
Yeah. Also, again, don't click on any links. They're going to try to have those links there. Those links can either lead you to unsafe websites, have you put in personal information, or again, download information to your devices. So you never want to open those links. It used to be that you didn't even want to open those emails because it would automatically download stuff. But it's gotten safer now where if you open the email, usually nothing's going to happen. Just make sure you don't click any of those links and send
no
that to spam.
attachments and no links, and that's generally what makes you safe. Because that's the thing, sometimes somebody will open an email and go, oh my gosh, I shouldn't have opened this. No, you're probably fine because of how email has advanced. As long as you don't click the links, as long as you don't open the attachments, you should be okay. Just mark it as spam to get it out of your way.
Yeah, so again, not clicking links. Also, don't download anything. Same thing, it's going to try to put software or stuff onto your devices to make it ineffective. Do be skeptical. If it seems too good to be true, it probably is. Make sure to double check those emails. Make sure they're coming from somewhere secure. You want to make sure that stuff is safe.
Working in a school district like I used to, we got emails all the time that said that they were from our administrator, and they weren't. They just put in her name as their name. And so we would get emails constantly like, hey, make sure you check the name, because it would be like, hey, are you available? Give me a call at this number quick, and stuff like that, like seemingly very innocent. And so I got in a habit of anytime I open an email and I think, what's the actual email address? That's not her email address. This isn't her. So paying attention to that is really, really important. I've just made it a habit that a lot of times I just check, oh, yep, that is them. That's their email address or whatever. But if I don't recognize that email address, I'm marking it as spam right away.
I've had to be careful too, because I'm the one who like responds to our emails, and I'll get emails where it'll be like, do you have this book? But the email address will look really weird, and I'll go and look, and it's not someone we actually have an account with or anything. And so it's like I have to be wary sometimes, because there was one time I responded, and then they started sending all these emails about like, open this link and here's money and all this stuff. And I was like, oh, that wasn't a real email account. They just wanted to see if they could get information. And so it's like, be skeptical as you can. And again, read those emails very carefully. Look for those misspellings. Look for the sentences that don't make sense. Look for that information they're trying to get from you. You want to make sure you're being very careful with everything that you're receiving. And again, look up that information on your own. If you think it might be true, go to that website, log in with your information, see if there's something there. Usually if it's true, then it's going to show up on your account. You can always check that way, so then you're never having to click on those links and potentially download something that you aren't wanting to. So activity 4, how do you know that a website is secure? What on this website? How can you tell that this one's secure?
The lock.
Yep.
And the S.
Yep, we got the lock, the HTTPS. Also, careerbuilder.com. This looks like a real website. They're not asking for any information here. Just like a job searching. So something that should generally be safe. Which one of these passwords is most secure?
I guess the long phrase.
Yeah. So like, of course, with the first one, passwords, that's something easy to guess. 1 Maple Street, that sounds like an address. That's something that you wouldn't want to have out there, because then anyone who has your address could log in. Right. This down here, like Cassie was saying.
Code, right? Or the bar.
Yeah, where you can just go across.
What does that even mean?
Yeah.
That's where this finger goes.
Yeah. So again, this one's the longest one, and it's also the one that you're going to remember easier. It doesn't have personal information in there. It's not going to be something easy to guess. So that is a very good password there. What is the best option to remember your password?
I guess the top one. Notebook.
Yeah. So a notebook stored in a safe place, making sure it's not somewhere someone can easily access it. A sticky note on your computer. All your coworkers can see that. Anyone that walks by can see it. Anyone then would have access to that information.
If it falls off.
Yeah. The cleaners might see it and be like, oh, good to know, And using your first and last name, again, that's something that people say, no, your first and last name, that's an easy way to get access to your account. So you never want to use your name. So what are 3 things that indicate a scam in this email? Let's see. I guess even if you just have
the pharmacy, that's not an email address.
Yeah, from the pharmacy. What pharmacy?
Exactly.
Like, who? So yeah, you don't know where the email's from.
What else?
Let's say with this.
Well, urgency, I guess. Go right now.
Yeah, trying to make sure you do it in a quick amount of time. It's trying to rush you into action. Also, if you never signed up for these email notifications, like if you've never had a pharmacy that's been emailing you, that's kind of strange. Like, I didn't sign up for this. Why am I getting this?
And the grammar mistake in there, so accumulated over the last year shopping at the pharmacy, comma, you.
Oh, sure.
Yeah.
See, another one. So yeah, telling you that you'll lose something if you don't act. You'll lose all of your points, you know? That's usually, you don't have to log in to make sure you don't lose points. Also having the link, you know, anything that they want you to click on to either send you to a website that's not safe or having you download information, those are all ways that you can tell that that's not a safe email.
Yeah, a lot of legitimate places too will say like, go to our website to log into your account to verify this information instead of having a link, because they know that scammers use those links all the time and people are skeptical of them. So emails that are directing you to visit our website and log into your account to check this information, that's probably more legitimate because they're not giving you a link to click on that's going to take you to whatever website they want you to go to. You're going to the website you always log into.
So let's see. What about this one? What are some ways to indicate that this one's a scam?
Well, your name is spelled wrong.
And with the capital, yeah.
Too much capital.
Right. And in the email address, isn't there usually like brackets or some kind of not a quotation, but I don't know what it's called. A lot of times it's not just the name and then the email address. Do you understand what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I understand what you're saying. Yeah, usually there's something that offsets it.
Yeah, and also not
Adorable
capitalizing.
number.
I mean, that makes me feel good, but yeah. So stuff that's not professional like that, or misspelling stuff. Again, if you've never signed up for tech support,
Like preceded is spelled wrong.
grammatical errors.
Right. And it'd be questionable on the date too. Date of request, usually here we say the month and then the day, not day and then month.
And then also like the fact that it's saying it's like a receipt. It's saying you spent this money.
Right.
Did you actually go somewhere and pay for that? If you didn't, that's probably not accurate.
And then usage error with the wrong form of here.
Right.
We are here for you. Nope, that's the wrong here.
Right.
So lots of ways to tell that that's a scam. So you receive an email from someone telling you that you've won a prize. You think it's spam. What should you do?
Unsubscribe is what I would do.
Well, but see, usually
Oh,
if you click on
if you're-
unsubscribe, that's
yes.
clicking on a link in the
Yes,
email.
okay,
Yeah.
spam then.
Yeah, yep. So you want to put it in your spam folder or ignore it. Yeah.
I guess unsubscribe I wouldn't have done. I would have deleted it or.
And that's something I do a lot that I should look out for. Is I always click on subscribe, but yeah, that's true. It can be
If it's a website that I know, because I'm like, oh, I signed up for these.
and I just don't want them
Yeah,
anymore.
I will click the unsubscribe button for those. But yeah, if it's a questionable email, making sure that it's marked as spam.
Yes. And again, like replying. Don't reply because then they know that's an active account.
Right.
They're more likely to come after you. Clicking on the link, that's always going to take you to places that you don't want to go. Otherwise, do you have any questions? Anything you need clarified? Other things that we might have missed?
We talked about stuff as we went, which is kind of nice because by the time you get to the end, then I forgot the question.
Yeah, but otherwise, I mean, we taught you some basic skills about cybersecurity. There is a little piece of paper there that has some different tips and stuff on there if you ever forget anything that we talked about. There's also that lovely certificate